Balance is literally everything. It is the secret to, I think, everything. And it's so simple, it's so subtle, but it's so powerful. And when we're talking about accessing superconsciousness, accessing a state of heightened awareness beyond ordinary, everyday consciousness, balance is all you need. I feel like as humans, we're using a fraction of the potential of not just our brain, but our whole entire consciousness, our awareness. And when we talk about super consciousness, that's when we can maybe get profound insight, unlock deeper intuition, psychic abilities, all that. It's low-key, I think, a state of all-knowing. Super consciousness is not something that you add to yourself. It's what naturally will happen. I think it is our natural state. When the two halves or hemispheres of our mind stop fighting each other. And I talk about in so many videos, ending the war within ourselves and reaching unification. Most of us were living more on one side of the brain or the other. Some of us are very logical and rigid, and some of us are really tapped into our intuition and sometimes get a little too wavy, if you know what I mean. The goal here is to get the two hemispheres to work in sync, work in tandem. And if we're too left-brained and logical, we see the world in pieces as a bunch of different things that are unrelated to each other that really have no meaning. Logical, making sense of it, but limited, seeing things from a very physical and analytical perspective. People who are super right-brained are very creative. They may come up with big ideas. They may be able to really feel into the unseen part of our world. They may be overly spiritual, but they struggle to really ground any of that into form. They may be very disorganized. To become the highest version of ourselves and to tap into our fullest potential, we have to be able to both perceive the invisible and take decisive action in the physical. And this plays out on every level of existence. You have order and you have chaos. Chaos is where things are created. Order is where they are structured and organized and they come into existence. And there's a part in our brain that bridges both hemispheres, and that is the corpus callosum. It's this like thick band of nerves, highway of nerves, and it allows our brain to work as one single unit. And we can do things to strengthen this bridge. We can do things opposite-handed. We can work on our ambidexterity, if that's a word. When I really started working on using my non-dominant hand, in honestly any situation, like even brushing your teeth, washing the dishes, I noticed that my brain, I don't really know how to explain it, but my brain could process more and it could make sense of things more. Meditation and quieting our mind, that will help to balance the left and right hemispheres. Listening to binaural beats consistently can make some changes. Doing puzzles, learning new skills or learning new languages, forcing your brain to work in different ways. And they say an exercise called alternate nostril breathing, closing one nostril and breathing in and then doing it on the other side, also can help. But the more that our hemispheres sync, we're not just going to see events or other things on a surface level. We're going to start to see life in an entirely different way, start to see underlying patterns. We may start to be able to observe energy, really see how cause and effect, and maybe see the past and the present and the future in a different way, and how it's all interconnected. We may start to see things before they actually happen because we're viewing things from a higher dimension, a higher vantage point, and that's what happens when we become unified. When we no longer identify with our mind, but again, I'm telling you, every video I'm going to mention this. We don't identify with our mind, but we become just the witness, the observer, adopting non-dual awareness. When we truly can become whole, and it's easier said than done. I think a lot of us, including myself, have things that we have to work through and heal. But if we can end the war within ourselves and align with who we know we can be on the inside, with what our life is on the outside, and we align with the highest version of ourselves, our actions, our thoughts, and our beliefs are all aligned, that's when we really start to tap into our true power. And also just in general, we're just overstimulated as hell, so that's where, again, meditation can come in. Stillness, sitting in silence, will just make us a lot more observant. Instead of being out there in the world, head in our phone, take some time away from it and become fully immersed in life, you're going to start to pick up on a lot of things that you haven't noticed. And that is how you begin to tap into super consciousness. So hopefully that helped. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to support the channel if you haven't already. Watch my other videos. That's all I got. See ya.